Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another weekly crafting update video. In this video, I will be showing what I do throughout this next week on my cross stitch projects, some crochet, maybe knitting. At the very end, I'll talk about books that I've been reading and then also games. And so to start off with for this week, it is currently Thursday, June 12th, which this is the last full day that my kids have of school. They also have school tomorrow, but it's a half day and then they will officially be out for summer. So right now I just want to enjoy these last day and a half where I will have a small amount of peace and quiet. And I will be returning to working on Autumn Harmony, which is artwork by Maxine Gadd. And so here she is. I took her off of the Q-snap so we can see the full thing right now. And I think for today, I really just want to be able to grab one color and just stitch on one color. And so I opened up Pattern Keeper and I was clicking on different colors to see which color would be an easy one to work across the chart. And I picked the color 498, which is a red. So I will be stitching it throughout the red of her hair and stuff. And so I can insert the Pattern Keeper mock-up, and my highlight color is green, so all the green is the color that I will be stitching on, and that will just be an easy way to spend the day. So I can put on a floss tube video. I know that Crafty Emily has a new video, and I can put on an audiobook or something and just listen to a book or watch some floss tube and stitch on one color without having to change colors a lot. I don't feel like doing confetti right now. So I'll be working on Autumn Harmony, and then for crochet, the first thing that I'm going to be working on is I realized that the Flower Power cardigan that I am making, which is by Yarnspirations, it's a free pattern on their website. I am using the Flower Power Red Heart yarn right here, and I realized I'm really close to being done with the squares. So I had counted the squares in my summer plans video, which I previously posted, and I realized that for this color I had 13 squares and all I needed to have is 15. So I only needed to make 2 more squares, and so I made this square now right here. And I'm gonna say this, the color change was not working out. There was supposed to be more white here and the color change just, it wasn't working. I kept ripping out and then loosening up. It wasn't working out right, and I decided I was just going to leave it like this because, you know, all flowers are not the same. They can't all be perfect. And so I have this one finished, and I am currently working on another one, which would be square number 15, which would mean that this color, I'll have all the squares done. And then the Black Dahlia color, I have 11 currently. Yes, as of yesterday, I had 11. I made one more, which is 12. And then I need to have 17 of this color. So I need to make another 5 squares, and then I will be ready to put this all together and do all that. So that is what I'll be working on, is Autumn Harmony, and then also making some squares because I'm almost done with the flower squares, which I'm going to have a lot of this yarn left because all I need to do is make one more square with this one, and you can, I think, make 12 squares from each skein of this. So I'll technically have enough for 10 more squares of this color. So I'm going to eventually need to make another project with that yarn. So I'll have to think of something eventually. I will be back though once I have an update on Autumn Harmony. I am back, and it is now Sunday, June 15th, and I have made a little change to the way that I'm going to do things. So the last couple days I had been working on Autumn Harmony, and that was the only project I was working on, and I wasn't doing a ton of stitching because I think I don't like stitching on her full time. It's on 18 count. It's not my favorite fabric to stitch on. And so yeah, I just haven't been stitching as much the last couple days. So I think I'm going to go back to stitching on her daily, trying to just do 150 to 200 stitches on her a day. And then what I ended up doing is, in my summer goals video, I had written down all of my WIPGO projects, and I put all of the WIPGO projects onto a wheel. And I think my plan is I'm just going to spin the wheel and work on some of my WIPGO projects after I have done my daily stitching on Autumn Harmony. That's what I'm going to try going forward, and we'll see how that goes. A lot of my WIPGO projects are full coverage, so a lot of them are on 28 count half cross, which is my preferred fabric to stitch on, or 28 or 25. And so I'm hoping that this way I will get back to doing more stitching, because the last couple days I've been doing like 200 stitches and I'm like, I'm done, I'm gonna do something else. So I will spin the wheel. I have a screen recorder going on my tablet so that I can insert it in the video like here. And let's spin and pick my project. And it is Templar Prophecy. So one of the few that is not a 28 or 25 count 10 stitch. Templar Prophecy is by Long Dog Sampler, and I will go and grab it real quick so I can show you my starting point. Here is Templar Prophecy, and the sun is kind of making it look not the best right now. It's kind of blowing it out, but this is being stitched on a like dark blue, almost black fabric I dyed myself, and I am using DMC 666, which is a gorgeous, you know, red color. There we go, that's better. And I am stitching it 1/1 on, I think it's a 22 count fabric. So I will be stitching on this, and I will be back. I'm not gonna lie, I will probably be spinning the wheel again in a couple days because this is not my favorite thing to stitch on. But we will just see how it goes stitching on this, and I'll be back once I have some progress. I am back, and it is currently Thursday, June 19th, which means it has been a week since I started filming this video. So I'm going to give you an update on my cross stitch progress, and then I'm also going to talk about everything else that I was doing over the week. So books, games, and knitting, crochet. So I'm going to start off with my cross stitch. So in the last clip I had spun the wheel and I had picked Templar Prophecy, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to work on it for that long because I don't enjoy it. But I remembered what I was talking about last month of I would like to make more progress on things before I put them away. I don't just want to do like, you know, 100 stitches or 1,000 stitches and then just put something away. I would like to try and see noticeable progress. And Templar Prophecy is a really old chart. And so what I decided is I'm going to keep working on Templar Prophecy until I finish page 3. Let me see, I'm trying to find my tablet so I can show you. There's still quite a bit of page 3 left to do. I'm working on that page right now. I'll just show you the progress first, and then I'll show you the Pattern Keeper mock-up of how much there is to do. So here is Templar Prophecy. It's see-through. I'm trying to, there we go. Get it not see-through. So this is page 3 here that I'm working on, and this here is the edge. So I have been filling in this section first is where I was focusing, and then I still have to do all of this down here. So this here is the bottom of where page 3 will be, and so I have to fill in all of this, which is quite a bit because this area here is really densely stitched for a long dog. Like in long dogs, there are usually like sections where you'll do like a motif and there will be a lot of empty spaces. This section here is a lot of really long rows that go back and forth. So this might take me a little bit, but I'm going to keep it out until page 3 is finished, and then I will put it away, and then I will spin the wheel again. So first I will go and find Templar Prophecy and Pattern Keeper. Oh, there's an update in Pattern Keeper and it keeps trying to get me to do it. I will do that later though. So here's Templar Prophecy in Pattern Keeper. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. And the line for page 3 is going to be hard to see, but I can't even see it. It's right around there. Somewhere around there, and there's still just a lot to do because like I said, it's a densely filled in area. So I'll be working on that, and then I will spin the wheel in my next video and pick another project. Hopefully my next video. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish the stitching on Templar Prophecy. And another thing I was going to mention is on my wheel, I originally just had WIPGO projects, but then I also added Northern Lights because I would like to finish that chart this summer. And so my plan is whenever Northern Lights gets picked, I will do 1,000 stitches on it. And so I think there's still 5,000 plus stitches left. So it would need to get picked, you know, a little over 5 times, and then I can have it finished hopefully this summer. And then for my other Whip Go projects that are on the wheel, because like I mentioned, I don't want to just do a small amount and then put it away. So I think whenever I spin a project, I will look at where that project is and then decide, you know, if I want to stitch like and finish a page like on Templar Prophecy, or like do this many stitches or get to a certain percent, but it's going to be dependent on what the project is and kind of where it's at as to what I end up deciding. So that is my plans going forward for this summer. We will see if they end up changing though. And then I've also been working on Autumn Harmony in the background. I try and do daily stitching, but I had some days where I didn't stitch, which I will get to later. So Autumn Harmony, I have been doing Extreme Cross Country by color again, and I was working on the color 498, which is this bright red here, so I filled it in there. And then I was working on filling it in here. And so it's not really going to be easy to tell where I've been stitching, but I have been working on her filling in some more red. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to see progress. I think I still have, I'll just go look in Pattern Keeper. I know that when I started stitching that color 498, I had over 2,000 stitches left to do of it. And I currently have 1,300 stitches left of that color, so I am getting closer to finishing that color in Pattern Keeper. And then I'm still not sure if I will pick another color and just keep going Extreme Cross Country, or if I will finally like settle down on an area, but I do really like to just pick one color and just go, because it's, you know, easier than switching colors a lot. But I mentioned I had a few days that I was not stitching, and what was I working on? I was working on some crochet projects, which the main one is the Flower Power Wrap cardigan, which is a free pattern on the Yarnspirations website. And I was using the Flower Power yarn from Red Heart, and here it is. So it's not finished yet, but it's really close. And so I finished all the squares a couple days ago, and then I had to weave in ends and sew it together. And so all the ends right now are woven in, everything is sewn together. And so what I need to do now is I need to do the cuffs at the arm, and then I also need to do a like ribbed-ish, crochet ribbed band that goes along the sides, and then it also goes along the bottom, and then I will have this finished, because I made that little summer goals thing of like what I want to do this summer, and I'm kind of trying to like chip away at things. So I was like, which project do I want to work on first of this cardigan? There is the blanket that I'm working on, which is back here, and then I also have a pair of knit socks, and I was like, the cardigan has been going on longer. Plus, all of the squares were driving me crazy because they just had all the ends hanging, and so I was like, this is the one that I feel like will make a big difference in my crafty area getting it finished, because the ends were getting tangled on things and there was like squares everywhere. So I was like, this one, getting it done, will make a big difference in my like crafty space. And so I focused on this and got that very close to being done. I'm hoping in my next video this will be done, because like I said, all that's left is like the crochet ribbing edges. So that is very exciting to be almost done with that. And the yarn that I used the yarn that was called for in the pattern, which is the colors Black Dahlia for this square, and then the other color is Daisy Dew. I love these colors, and then I also still have more of the granny square yarn, so I will need to make something else with the colors that I have. So then I will go to books, which I have like my little like spreadsheet thing. And so in my summer plans video, I had also talked about what books I wanted to read this summer. And some of them are ARCs, which I get from NetGalley, which are books that aren't out yet. And then I also listed books that are on my bookshelf, because I feel like I end up buying books but then not reading them, because I try and read the ARCs that I need to get reviewed, or I'm reading library books. And so I was like, this summer I really want to read some of the books that I have purchased. And so what I've been doing right now is like, I will read an advanced reader copy, and then I will read a book from my shelf. And so I have read, I think I finished 3 books in the last week. And so I finished There was one called The Case of the Body on the Orient Express by Kelly Oliver, which was an advanced reader copy. That book comes out, I think it comes out this month, and that was like a little murder mystery type book. It was really good. I loved the style of it. It had Agatha Christie, and the main character is a secretary to the secretary of Agatha Christie or something like that. It was fun. And then obviously on the train there is a murder, which you can tell because, you know, it's called The Case of the Body on the Orient Express. And so that was a very fun book. And so that was an arc. So then I went to my physical books and I decided to start reading Catching Fire again because I had already started that one, and so it just made sense to get that one finished out of the way. And so I read and finished Catching Fire, which was really good, and that's one of the Hunger Games books, and so I liked that. I have the other Hunger Games books on my shelf, so I would like to get to those eventually, but there are other books first that I wanted to get to. And so then I went to another arc and I read We Who Will Die, which is by Stasia Stark. This one doesn't come out until January of next year, which is so sad because I want book 2 because this is a series and I want book 2. And so it's in the romantasy genre, which I love that genre. I love her other books, and it's like Roman themed, which is a very fun world to have. Like there's like the gods and everything, and there are vampires, and the vampires are like the head, they're the leaders, and then there are these magical people that are sigil marked, and it almost has a Throne of Glass type vibe to it, where there's a main character and she has to compete in like this game to try and win, and there is a reason that she's doing it, like someone is basically forcing her to. And so yeah, it's a really fun book. Like the whole thing with the vampires was very fun, and I just want book 2, but the book 1 doesn't even come out until next year, so that's sad. So I read that, and then I went back to my physical books and I picked this book because everyone has, like, whenever I bring this up in a video, people are like, it's a great book, I'm excited for you to read it. So I decided to start reading Scythe and get this one read, which I am liking it so far. I'm not very far into it, and this is one where obviously I haven't really like read very much to give a description, but basically people aren't dying anymore because we like advanced so far that we can, you know, cure everything, and so people aren't dying. And so there is now a job where people have to like end people's lives, otherwise there would just be too many people. So that's what this is about, and just all the like the things that get brought up with it, you know, like how do you decide who, you know, who dies and stuff. So I am enjoying that one, and I don't think it'll take me that long to get through because I have been reading a ton. Like cross stitch has kind of taken a back seat this month, and I have been doing a lot more reading. Like I was thinking that my summer reading goals, I will have read those books probably pretty fast if I don't slow down a little bit. And then I also started a new audiobook, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is hilarious. And I'd heard people talking about this a lot, and so I finally started listening to it, and it is hilarious. And so there is like an event that happens, and this guy gets put into like this game show video game world, and it's great. It is hilarious. He's got this cat that's a princess. It's a great read so far, or listen, I'm listening to it. And the audiobook is great because it has like multiple voices, and like one of the voices almost reminds me of like the Borderlands games, like Claptrap I think is the name. And it reads off like announcements because like it's like a video game world, and so there will be like basically he gets like achievements or trophies and stuff like that for things that he does, and some of them are pretty funny. And so that's a really good listen so far, and I am looking forward to getting into that series more. And so I think that is all that I've done. Games, I have been still playing Fantasy Life. I am still obsessed with that game. I cannot put it down. I don't think I've played any other games though. So that is all though for this week. I have been talking long enough, and so I will be back next week where I will be working on Templar Prophecy once again, trying to finish this part of page 3, and then I will also hopefully finish this page, and then I will get to spin the wheel and pick another project to work on. So if you would like to see that, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in my video next week. Bye!